Hey guys, welcome to Cape and Cowl Cafe. I'm Nemo, and today I'm going to be talking about some of the worst Batman opinions ever devised. If you guys enjoy the video at any point today, I'd really appreciate if you hit that like and subscribe button, but let's just hop right into this now. We all love Batman. I mean, that's probably why you clicked on this video and why you're watching, and that's probably why you're going to end up subscribing to this channel. But, you know, I'm convinced that some people don't like Batman, because there are a lot of people who have the most brain-dead opinions on Batman, and just, you know, they're just displaying to the whole world that they have absolutely no idea what the character is all about and how he functions. So today we're going to be going over some of the worst ones that I have seen on the internet, so let's go. Okay, so the first one, you know, people say, Batman should kill people and he should use guns. Like, come on. That is the fastest way to tell me that you know nothing about the character. Not killing people is an essential characteristic of Batman, and it's been that way for the longest time, okay? And I know what some of you edgelords are gonna say, but Batman killed people in 1939. Yeah, okay, he killed people for less than a year in some of his first issues, but the thing is, back in the day, the Comics Code Authority was introduced, and it implemented some new rules that forced a lot of comic book creators to change up the way they do things. They were strong-armed into changing a lot of the dark themes that those stories had. A lot of horror comics and detective comics were just completely abolished. But for Batman, that meant getting a brighter blue costume. Robin was introduced as a lighthearted sidekick. He got rid of the guns, he stopped killing people, and the stories got more goofy and campy and just kid-friendly. Now, there may be people that don't agree with that change, but, you know, it's been that way since 1940, okay? You can't really argue with, like, 80 plus years of history because you like the 8 months where he happened to kill people. It just doesn't make any sense. Batman doesn't kill people. And the other thing about that, you know, you may not agree with him not killing people. You may think like, oh, Batman should kill the Joker because he's preventing more deaths. But that's part of his character, you know? Batman isn't necessarily right. And, you know, that's the whole point of the Under the Red Hood story. Jason comes back to criticize his no-kill rule and tell Batman that he's wrong.
Bruce, I forgive you for not saving me. But why? Why on God's earth is he still alive?
You know, nobody's saying that Batman is right for not killing the Joker, okay? Batman is mentally ill. That is the reason why he cannot bring himself to take a life.
He didn't have to die.
What?
He didn't have to die.
You're crazy. You're absolutely insane.
If someone can be saved, I have to try.
You do, don't you? It's a compulsion. You and your goddamn code.
That's what makes him interesting, okay? If he just killed people, there wouldn't be any stories, you know? It would just be over. And that's no fun, okay? Batman doesn't kill. Moving on. Alright, the next horrible take that I always hear is, Batman is a bad father because he has Robins. Now, while some Robins do regret the life that they led with Batman,
I always wanted, expected to grow up and become him. And the hero bit, I'm still all in. But that thing inside of him, the thing that drives him to sacrifice everything for the sake of his mission, that's not me. I don't want to be the Batman anymore.
I think overall, Batman created a net positive for his children, okay? They always, you know, bring up Jason Todd dying, and yeah, that's tragic and horrific, and it really made Batman think twice about bringing in sidekicks. But the thing is, him having Robins did a lot of good for those kids, okay?
You keep thinking, if only I'd done something differently. If only I could have warned them. But there isn't anything you could have done. There isn't anything either of us could have done.
Does the hurt ever go away?
I wish I could say yes. But it will get better in time. For you. That I promise.
Batman considers Dick Grayson to be his greatest success. And, you know, while he kind of messed up with Jason Todd, I think he did a great job with Tim. And then Damian. Think about what Damian could have turned out like if Batman wasn't there to influence him for the better. Damian was in the League of Assassins, okay? He would have eventually grown up to take over as the, you know, Demon's Head, and you could have just wiped out the entire Earth of anyone that they consider unworthy. You know, saying that Batman is a bad father is a huge stretch, okay? He may not be the perfect father, but he did do his best, and I think he did a pretty good job for the most part. And I mean, if we're being honest, Batman only went out of his way to take one Robin, you know, under his wing. Dick Grayson, or he approached him after he saw his parents die. He took him under his wing, he trained him, you know, turned him into a force for good. But the others, you know, Bruce wasn't entirely responsible for, you know, the choice every time. I mean, Jason Todd was caught stealing the wheels off the Batmobile, and, you know, Bruce could have turned him in or brought him to an orphanage, but he knew that he would have ended up on the street the next day either way, so his hands were kind of tied, and he decided to try to, you know, turn Jason into a better person and give him a brighter future than, you know, the one he was destined for. And then Tim Drake approached Batman, okay? After Jason Todd died, Batman swore off having sidekicks until Tim Drake figured out who Batman and Nightwing were, and Tim approached Bruce. And Bruce was reluctant, he said no a few times, but then he eventually broke down, gave him a chance. And then Damian Wayne was literally dropped on Batman's doorstep. And Damian is not a normal kid, okay? He was trained by the League of Assassins, and he was molded into a killer, you know? He learned how to fight and kill people before he learned how to read. What's Batman supposed to do with that, okay? He had a moral obligation as his blood father to take him in and try to teach him how to be a better person and not end up like a psycho murderer, like he would have. Like, what are we talking about here? Batman is not a terrible father. He tries his best. Like, the people who claim that Batman is the worst father ever, I'm convinced that the only Batman comic they've ever read is All-Star Batman and Robin, which is by far the worst Batman story I think I have ever read in my entire life. It is 100% turbo-ass garbage loser fan fiction. Okay, and the worst Batman opinion that I have ever seen, and I see this one way too much. That being, Batman is just a rich fascist who beats up poor people, and he should stop beating up the poor people and give money to the city and fix all their problems. You're just telling me that you don't know anything about Batman at all? Like, you probably don't even really like the character that much. You're just an edgelord with a Twitter account and you want attention. You know, I see this all the time. No, Batman is not a rich fascist who beats up poor people, okay? He is probably one of the most kind-hearted and morally good characters in fiction, period. I mean, that's why he doesn't kill all of his villains. He believes in rehabilitation, and he wants to help them. Doesn't really sound like a fascist to me. Now, to address the point where they're like, oh, you should stop beating up all the people and give money to the city. Giving money to Gotham isn't gonna do a damn thing, alright? The city is so broken and corrupt that giving money to the city would actually just make the problem worse. For example, in The Batman, it's revealed at the end of the movie that Carmine Falcone had been running the city for 20 years. And it didn't matter who the mayor was. He controlled the police, the crime, he had all the politicians in his pocket, he owned everything.
You think this goddamn election matters? Falcone's the mayor. He's been the mayor for the last 20 years.
So do you really think that running for mayor or being a politician or philanthropy in a city like that is really gonna help? No, the money's just gonna get circulated through that corrupt system, it's gonna go to all the bad guys, and nobody wins, you know? So, in a city like that, dressing up like a bat and beating up criminals is the only way to help. Alright, now, let's not get it twisted. Okay, Bruce Wayne does an insane amount to help the city with his money and his vast pool of resources. You know, he's constantly holding fundraising campaigns, and he's trying to help out the best politicians and the best cops, and he's, you know, building orphanages and rebuilding city infrastructure, and, you know, he's constantly just trying to do all that he can to help his city. But, you know, being Bruce Wayne isn't enough. You have to dress up as Batman and beat up the criminals. You have to be a symbol, okay? That was the whole point of this scene from Batman Begins.
People need dramatic examples to shake them out of apathy, and I can't do that as Bruce Wayne. As a man, I'm flesh and blood. I can be ignored, I can be destroyed, but as a symbol, I can be incorruptible. I can be everlasting.
You know, corrupt government can kill a politician. They can get rid of a really good mayor. But you can't kill an idea, a symbol, and that's what Batman is. He starts out as an urban legend. People don't know if he's real, but the criminals know that he's real, and he's out there, and he's gonna get them. You know, Bruce Wayne can't do that. Like, the people who have these kind of opinions, I feel like they only say it because Batman is rich, okay? Like, in our world, the real world, the majority of billionaires are evil, okay? You have that kind of money, you're not going to be a great person. And I think that Batman as a character is a critique of those kinds of people, okay? Batman is a billionaire, but he is also the ideal example of what a rich person should be like. Selfless, helping people, putting others before themselves. So, you know, he is this perfect critique of, you know, the elite in our society. And some people still feel the need to just say that, oh, he's a fascist because he's rich.
Batman's a fascist.
I must say this is the biggest Batman fan out there. Batman is a fascist. He is. And Batman is also a terrorist.
You don't understand the character, okay? Just put the keyboard down, stop typing, get off Twitter, go read a comic book, all right?
I would say, you know, in the Frank Miller comic book that I reference, you know, he kills all the time. You know, he kills all the time, right?
Alright guys, that's going to be about it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it all, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. And comment down below some of the worst Batman opinions that you have heard. Maybe I'll make a part 2, I'll feature them there. But yeah, if you guys have ideas for videos that you want me to do, things you want me to talk about, you can put them in the comments down below too. I'll add them to a list and I'll get to it eventually. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys later.